Okay. We're live. I will wait for some people to get on. Let's see. Just waiting for some people to get on if you hear me out there. Okay, we are live. Good. Let me see if people are jumping on yet. Not quite yet. Let's see. Give it a few minutes while people catch up. Okay. Now people are starting to come on. Good. Excellent. So I have to wait for the Facebook algorithm, whatever it is, starts pushing people on. So good. Now it's starting to go up. It went up really fast. Awesome. So I will get started, and as people come on, we will ramp up. Perfect. Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network. Thank you for being on tonight. Thank you for listening in, watching. I'm getting text messages, Facebook messages, you name it, all day long, asking questions, different things like that, wondering when I'm going to be on, and I'm doing the best I can with work and then being home and everything else. So here we are. So before we get started, I want to actually take you back in time a little bit to Dwight D. Eisenhower. So many of you know that he gave a famous speech, and I will give you a little background on the speech. So first of all, in 1961, so Eisenhower was a retired five-star general, Army general. He led the Allies in D-Day, and then he made the remarks in his farewell speech from the White House. And this is what Dwight D. Eisenhower said as he was going out of office. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. So that was Dwight Eisenhower talking about the military-industrial complex. Now, fast forward a little bit to April 1961 with the new president, who was John F. Kennedy, who we know how his reign ended. But he also had a very, very famous speech, and that was, I will give it to you now. So I'm not going to give you the whole speech, but I'll give you the important part. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are as a people inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it. So Kennedy knew, Eisenhower knew. They both knew what was going on. They're actually trying to warn everyone what was going on. And then if you fast forward, you will hear other presidents in the past, more recent presidents, talking about a new world order. So you had Eisenhower and Kennedy warning you, and then you have other presidents on camera telling you what's coming, right? So the reason I wanted to tell you that was because I think this all comes back to the day JFK was murdered. And then when John Jr. found out about it as he got older, I think they put a plan together. And the reason I think that is because JFK was a Democrat. But the Democrats then were not the Democrats of today. Very, very different party. And so essentially what I'm understanding is, and how I can kind of let you in on this is, our presidents, no matter what, are not what they seem. Even President Trump, meaning you have secret societies on both sides. And I posted this before. There's different Illuminatis. And so Trump is a Gnostic Illuminati who is more of a God believer. And that's why he has the Christians behind him. That's why he's kind of going the direction he's going. But what I think occurred, and I've heard this several places and researched it several places, was Donald Trump was actually convinced to run for presidency by some people in the military and maybe some other people part of that group where they actually wanted to serve humanity. And I've read this many times over, and it all comes back to the same spot. And he was convinced to actually run because they needed to take out this satanic aspect, which is the banking system, the cartel, the pedophile, human trafficking, this whole thing, because it's completely out of control. And we are coming to that culmination at this point. Now, the interesting part is I find that if you look a little bit what's going on right now, you also have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Now, JFK was assassinated. So was Robert Kennedy assassinated before he was in his time in government. And you have RFK Jr. now, actually running the Children's Health Defense Fund or Children's Health Defense Organization. And what he does is he actually sues Bayer and Monsanto for, I think it was $2 billion or $1 billion. It was a gigantic amount for a landscaper or landscape architect or something like that. I don't know exactly what he was, but Dwayne Johnson, I believe. And they end up settling for, I think, around $89 million, but they successfully sued Monsanto Bayer, which makes glyphosate. And now I believe there's closing in on 10,000 more court cases that they're going after Bayer and Monsanto for. Not only that, but RFK Jr. has teamed up with Del Bigtree, and they're actually going after the pharmaceutical companies. And they have lawsuits into, I believe, 74 different companies over fraudulent science in vaccination. So they're not necessarily RFK I don't think is anti-vax, but he wants a fair system that for people who do want to be vaccinated, that it's actually the correct science and correctly done. So, but the whole other point is he actually also looks over planetary environmental things. So they actually want to clean up the planet. Now, he is a Democrat, but again, you don't see him hanging with the Pelosi's, the Schumers, the Schiffs, all those people. He doesn't. He's a different Democrat. They were actually Democrats that cared. They wanted people to be better. And if you listen to JFK speeches, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country, because it's all about public service and serving the people. So I think this is fascinating, and I feel like this is all culminating because if JFK Jr. is still alive, this could be the most amazing year you have ever seen in a very long time. Now, that's all speculation. I don't know for sure, but going forward, what happened today? So today, the president came out and they said that they are releasing $850 billion, but I think it's going to be over $1 trillion of stimulation into the economy. Now, typically in 2008, I think they also did about 800 or 700, 800 billion, and they put it into the banks and the Wall Street. And so the money actually never got to you and I. Now, keep in mind, as I said in the past, the Federal Reserve is a cartel. They are charging interest. It's basically a giant scheme or Ponzi scheme, scam, whatever you want to call it. So the bailouts in 2008, they gave that money to the banks, to Wall Street, and we never received anything. And we actually just got more taxes on top of what we already did. So if you don't understand, we actually already enter or we're living in a slavery system, meaning obviously not like back in the day, but we are under financial slavery. We pay taxes. We are not constitutionally bound to pay taxes. You go back and start reading your founding documents, okay? Now, they're passing this stimulus. They announced today that they're actually sending it to people, meaning I think people are going to get about $1,000, but it actually might be more from what I've heard. But the whole point is, and I actually heard somebody say, well, that's kind of like a form of socialism. No, socialism is not doing anything, and the government controls everything and pays for your way. That's socialism, where you don't have to work for it. What they're doing is they're essentially playing the Robin Hood. Yeah, they're essentially playing Robin Hood, and they're getting money from the globalist elites who stole it from us, and they're putting it back in our hands. It's essentially reparations. So that's going to be very fascinating to see how it's happening. But also, where's the money coming from? Well, there was actually a Los Angeles businessman that lost a $1 billion case of embezzlement today. And I think the other elites who are getting tracked down, I think they're liquidating their gold and the money, and they're going to be putting that back into the system until we transfer over to a new system. That's what it seems like is going on. Now, going forward, you may have saw, like yesterday, they had the rats on the Democratic National, or the Democratic Google page, right? So the algorithms, I don't know what's happening, if they're being opened up or if they're being taken over by what's called the Patriots. The Patriots is the Q phenomenon. But anyway, you can look up different things now, like vaccinations and other stuff, and it will actually show you correct information. Like they actually had a page showing Michelle Obama's real name, because there's a lot of conspiracy over Michelle and President Obama. But either way, you're going to start seeing things pop up. You're going to start seeing things on Twitter. Like if you go on Twitter right now, Twitter is a giant Q message board. It is all over the place. So you're going to start seeing things, which is quite interesting. So Also today, actually just before I left work, they're shutting Florida schools down, at least until April. I think it's going to be longer, but they also said they're doing away with all testing for the entire year. So there will be no testing this year in Florida schools. I also just saw something on Twitter where I believe that California may be shutting schools down for the whole entire year. The reason why this is happening is I have a feeling you're about to see some stuff in the next several months and over a year that they want to give you time to process, because I put the title up there, it's going to be biblical. I think everyone at this point realizes this is not about a virus, and this is about something far bigger, something behind the scenes, and it's going to be so big that I think people are going to need some time to actually absorb it, understand it, know what's going on, and kind of process it to go on into our life going forward. So I think that's why they're doing that, but also it's going to be a little bit chaotic. That's what they're calling. So when Q talks, or when they analyze this stuff, he always says it's going to be very dark before we come out of this, but it's only going to be, say, about a month where the actual darkness goes, and then we start seeing everything open up. So that's that. I hope that helps. Now a few more updates. I found a 1 mile long train that was going through Jacksonville, Florida today, and it had tanks on it. So they're going to most likely put martial law into effect in the cities. One, I think they're trying to control any problems because they don't want those people going out into the country and creating problems for food, etc. And also I think because they're trying to find bunkers, underground things for where people are hiding. So I think that's what's happening there. But just be expected, if you're in a city, or especially a large city, that you're going to see military stuff coming in. We are going to have a very interesting month with the different things we're going to see around. I don't know from a quarantine standpoint what's going to happen. It seems like they're transitioning very slowly into that because they don't want to panic people. I've heard full quarantine, I've heard full shutdown, but I've also heard soft quarantine where only essential businesses are operating, like hospitals, etc., supermarkets, things like that. So I think that's what it'll be. And then if you're out and about, you only can go to that place and back home because they want to keep it protected, and they want to make sure that there's not a lot of people grouping together where there can be problematic issues. So that's that. The other thing today, which is insane, is the media. Several media stations went on, and you could tell they were not reading from their regular script, and they're stumbling over their words, and they're praising the president, saying that he was a good leader and we had a great leader going in. And that was actually on either MSNBC or CNN, one of the two. And you can see when the woman said it, she actually stumbled over herself and she had to look back down because you could tell like she wasn't going to say that, but she had to say it. And there's speculation that the media, and Q dropped this today, that the media is slowly being transitioned over, and you're going to hear a lot of people looking kind of strange on camera and saying a lot of weird things. For example, Governor Cuomo in New York. So if you hadn't seen that, I'm from New York. I can't stand the guy. He's a raging liberal criminal, essentially. He is terrible. No one likes him. They're shocked that he's in office. The only reason he's in office is because there's more people in New York City than there are the country portion of New York State. And so the city always wins out. The city's liberal. The rest of the state is actually very conservative. They really should be two different states because they're polar opposites. But he, of all things, said that he appreciated the president's leadership and that he would work with him however was needed. And that is the exact opposite of how he normally talks. So something is going on behind the scenes that I don't exactly know. You may have seen the Matthew McConaughey video that came out today, which is very cryptic, talking about red to green, and there's Q stuff involved with that. It seems like he might be one of the good Hollywood people. I don't know. But also what was noticed was when he was doing the video, he did a hand sign, which was a Q. So he went up, and then he kind of circled around like this. So it looked like he was just doing a normal motion. He was talking about something, but when he did it, it was picked up that it looked like he was doing a Q symbol, which President Trump has done it before as well. Another thing, oh, by the way, I want to clear something up. So since I have so many people on tonight, which I really appreciate everyone being here tonight, I'm not going to be on long tonight because, I got to call off. I'm tired. I got about 4 hours of sleep last night. Couldn't sleep very well. So tonight I'll shut it down earlier just because I got to get some rest. But I joked about being told on YouTube that I was Illuminati because I flashed the Illuminati symbol. I don't know which one it was, but I'm assuming it was this, which technically is an Illuminati symbol because you have the eye and then the 6 and there's 3 fingers here. I am not Illuminati. I've never been asked to be an Illuminati. But I am a professional speaker. So I speak in my industry. I get paid to speak. I go to seminars and things like that. And I'm a very dynamic speaker. I walk around. And so I do a lot of hand symbols, things like that. So I do this to make a point. A lot of times, it is not the Illuminati hand symbol. I will clear that up so no one worries that I'm doing these videos to create some interesting thing. So Kevin Durant also went down with coronavirus today. So basketball player, professional basketball player. You're going to see more of that. Got the Matthew McConaughey video. Also, the Irish Prime Minister, Leo. I'm going to mess up the last name, so I won't even say it. Leo, he spoke today, and back in, I think, 2017, the president was at a formal dinner, and he was amongst people and also military, and he said, this is the calm before the storm, which is fascinating because Q says that all the time. This is the calm before the storm. The Irish Prime Minister today also said, this is the calm before the storm, and we're going to purge them out, purge the virus out, something like that. They're all saying the same thing. So I do not know what's going on. I do not know for sure if Q is real and it's a legitimate thing or being tricked and it's a psyop. I do not know. I'm assuming that it's real. I have to at this point, right? Either way, something is going down because these are not coincidences. I mean, there's just too many now at this point for them to be coincidences. So as I say that, I have to go into this part, which is about, I'm getting a lot of comments, which I do not get to see all of them because there's so many, but I appreciate all of them. Keep going. Is a combination of the mark of the beast is coming, New World Order is coming, we're being tricked, it's a psyop, etc., etc., etc. And I understand, trust me, I get it. I've looked down that road too, and it can be a scary road. But I have learned something by talking to a lot of mentors in my life. And basically they said, if you're going to believe something, just go ahead and believe in it. Meaning, if you bounce around back and forth, whatever topic it may be, I mean, it could be politics, religion, life, family, it doesn't matter, excuse me. If you bounce all over the place, you're going to be constantly bouncing all over the place and you won't get anywhere. So even if you make a mistake, believe in something. So that is why I said I have to go with the Q thing. Why do I have to go with it? Because it's a good ending. That's why. I mean, it turns out to be good. Now they say, okay, what if we go to a Gesera law where it's a one world global currency with a gold-backed currency and all this different stuff and it's so bad? Okay, but are you going to stop it? I mean, they're playing at a very high level right now. I'm not at that level. So my goal in life is to live the best life I can, serve and help as many people as I can. My whole life, I have been living in the Federal Reserve System, where they have stolen money from me, they have stolen money from you, and I have managed to somehow survive and do very well and have a good education and be successful for 42 years and still make good money in a slavery system, okay? So clearly, we're all capable of doing great things even when we're being pushed down or suppressed. So whatever happens, I choose to not think about the New World Order. If it happens, it happens. It's in the back of my mind, but I don't focus on it. I focus on, this is going to be a great, amazing new beginning. We're going to get rid of a lot of darkness on this in this planet. Everyone I've talked to about this who has an instinct or inclination of what's going on, we all agree, and I think all of you agree as well. And let me know if you agree. Thank you for putting all the comments and love. That either way, we have to leave this darkness, pedophilia, human trafficking, just trashy world we're living in at this point. And so even if it's a one world government, which I don't want, but even if it's a good one where it's gold backed and everything else and the rainbow currency, it still has to be better than what this is. So, and obviously I will still then, if I see a disservice or I see something going not correct, just like any of you out there, you'll probably say something. right? But it's still better than living in this slavery system and getting most of our money taken away through taxes, which are unconstitutional. So I hope that helps. 5G. So I've been having a lot of questions about 5G. I will tell you this. A lot of people think that 5G caused the deaths in Wuhan in China. I understand that argument. I've been looking through that argument. I still research that argument. I am not saying 5G is good. Trust me, I'm a holistic natural doctor. I know 5G is not that good. I'm working on the solutions for myself, for you out there, for people in my office. It's not good. It runs on millimeter wavelength, which can be very destructive over a period of time. However, I don't believe that that's what killed people off by itself. I think there may have been some other stuff. Now, I think there was probably a combination of stuff. It's also known that Bill Gates had the virus patented. And so there was a Daily Mail article today saying that I believe it's Soros's brother or something like that actually said that Soros and Gates created it to do the kill shot on the vaccine. So we've talked about that. A lot of people talked about that out there. That's already out there. It's been out there. So I don't want to just narrow it down to 5G. And quite honestly, we have 5G in Central Florida here, and it's been turned on. I know that because we have some patients who come in who are surrounded by it, and their body is adapting to it. They've gone through a few health challenges, but their body's adapting to it, and they're moving on. The kids, we actually have a school that we know 5G is in, and the kids are doing fine. Now, I don't know if the tumors aren't growing or something like that in the brain. I don't have that information, but on the outside, they're doing okay. Because the body will always do what it can to adapt. I mean, this actually goes back to chiropractic principles. So I'm a chiropractor. Your body, your nervous system will adapt as much as possible to what the environment is. So that's why it's so important to keep your immune system up, because you want to be able to adapt. So that's what I wanted on 5G. We'll go into it more, but it's not fully pertinent to everything we go over, so I don't want to dive into it all the time. New World Order, I talked about that. Is it really just a New World Order? I don't know. I don't know. But again, I picked to believe in something positive about this. And vaccines. So the other one I get is vaccines. Are they going to do mandatory vaccines? So this is my thought process in this. They're not doing it anywhere else. There's something in Denmark they're saying about, but it's a year. Within a year, you have to get it. Keep in mind that can be struck down, and I don't know all the details on it. It's not just a straight up mandatory. I did read enough on it that it's not straight up mandatory. There's some loopholes, I think, in it. Now, for the U.S., the one thing we have protection on is we have a constitution. So you can't just pass things to get them through like that. Now, I know we're in an emergency situation and there's new laws and they have certain powers that they can do, so they could push it. Ultimately, I don't think they would. I think you have people like Rand Paul and others in Senate, and there's others in Congress who are good people who would say that's not acceptable. We can't do that. And also, quite honestly, I don't think they have the manpower to go to every house to do all this stuff and to actually force any vaccinations. So I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying it's not a legitimate concern, but again, I'm not focusing on it because I don't want it to occur. Stop focusing on it. Don't manifest it into life. So that's my play on that. Plus, honestly, we have so many military members, so many people that own guns, so many. I say rednecks, and some people might take offense to that. I'm from upstate New York. I'm technically a redneck, so I'm more than willing to say it, and I won't offend anybody because it is what it is. They're not going to get forced to do anything. Plus, we have a gigantic anti-vax community that is out there on social media going nuts, and they're going to make a huge stink about it. Plus, you have Dell out there, you have RFK Jr. out there. That would not go down without people jumping up and shouting. So I'm not as worried about that. And plus, I'd like to sleep at night so I don't focus on it. So with that, this is how I'll conclude tonight. Again, on the positive end, now that I've given you some facts and some data of the day, is how are we going to get through this and what can we focus on? Because quite honestly, I will tell you, there's some dark holes I've gone down, some not intentionally, and it will beat you up. And right now, again, is the time to be positive and push forward and take care of each other. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about, and it's honestly really simple stuff. I'm not going to talk about prepping for food tonight, even though I'll drop a link in this after that you can go and get food. But this is what I'm focused on, our kids. So it looks like schools are going to be shut down for at least a couple months, if not the whole year in certain places. I don't know. That means you're going to get a lot of time to spend with your kids. The other thing, it looks like televisions or the television networks could be shut down. I don't know for sure. So I put this as a goal or a challenge to you out there. We have been surrounded in our homes by cell phones, tablets, television for years of shows that used to be somewhat wholesome and now are just complete trash. And I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I spend time with my kids," but yet when you see them, they're spending it sitting in front of a television. We have really allowed our country to go downhill and become weak. One of the reasons is because we've allowed television to take over our lives. And it's interesting, I have a mentor who said, spend like a half an hour with your kid every single day. No television, just being with each other, talking, playing a game, whatever it is. Because next thing you know, half an hour over 5, 6, 7 days, it turns into hours spent with your kids and just present time with them. And that's very valuable. And that right there can change a child's entire life. So I think the biggest thing to do at this point is focus on hanging out with their kids, hanging out with their families. It looks like we're going to get a lot of time spent with each other over the next few weeks or so. And just get some games, get some books, talk, write, play some music, whatever it is, do what you can. I think the internet is going to be on. It sounds like maybe. Electricity, it looks like, will be on. It looks like they're going to knock out social media, though, for probably 10 days because they're disconnecting the problem. And then it will be back up. But internet will be there. But spend time with each other. That's really what we should do. And no matter what happens coming out the other end of this, nothing will ever be lost by spending time with our family and kids and just appreciating each other, loving each other, and all that good stuff. So I'm not going to spend too much time on here because we don't need to tonight, and I'm a little tired, and I will get my energy back, and there's going to be a lot more going on in the next few days, so I'm going to pace myself on this, but I hope that helps. Questions, I'll look at them really quick, but I'm not going to go too crazy on it because, again, I'm not going to stay on here. I will tell you, somebody asked about where to follow these people. Facebook is really not the place where Q stuff pops up. You really want to go to Twitter. There looks like some people in there are dropping some Twitter handles for people to follow. That's where you see some stuff. I mean, somebody actually posted a picture today of the underground tunnels under one of the cities where they're going after child trafficking, which is amazing. So that's there. Check that out. Anything else? You're welcome. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I again, thank you so much for listening in and watching it and sharing this, because again, pushing this out there is how we actually help and how we get people awakened. That really is. So whatever people say, any negativity out there, push it away. Okay, good. So people are posting in there. I'm going to go through this later. I don't want to spend a ton of time on here tonight. I hope you got something out of this. I appreciate it. If there's anything else you want me to cover, let me know in the comments or message me. That's fine. I am totally overwhelmed with messages. But what I'll do, give me about tonight, and I'll give you an email address. I have not made the email address. I'll make it right now. If you have any questions that you want to get directly to me and you can't get to me to Messenger for some reason, I'm going to have you email me. So email me at questions@drjasondean.com. questions@drjasondean.com. Now, I'm not going to promise I get every single one of them, but I'll do my best. And don't do that until tomorrow morning because I have to make the email address now that I've committed to it. But it will be a little easier than getting it through Messenger right now. You can still do it if you're friends with me. That's not a problem. But if you really want to definitely get answered, go through that email address, and that will be a lot helpful for me. Guys, I truly, truly appreciate everything. I'm going to drop the link in for the food prep thing that a doctor friend of mine has given to us, where you actually get a discount on prep foods, and they'll be to you very fast. And then again, I'll get that email address out, which is questions@drjasondean.com. I hope it helped. I hope this was good. And let's go out there and put our positive mindsets on. We are going into an amazing new world where we get rid of maybe taxation, we get rid of maybe all the money that's been stolen from us, and we get to focus on creating an amazing new life. So Dr. Jason Dean, Revolution Network, signing off. I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful night. Take care.